morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah,
Morning.
let us proceed with where we were last time. Let's proceed.
Mm.
We were supposed to start on the post errors. I think we were supposed to be here. Yeah, we were supposed to start on the post errors. And I think I said for the post now, we say that the post means what? The power on self test. Together. Because we agree that before a computer is able to boot up now, there is what we call the power on self test together. So the BIOS have to check whether all the components are working. For example, it has to check whether the display chip is working. It has to check whether we have other motherboard components like the PSU is working, the memory is working, the CPU is working. And that is what we call the post. Because now, in case one of the components is not working, there is no way that computer can boot up. For example, in case the computer is having a problem with the RAM, we always have the beeping sound. Is it true? You have the beeping sound. Because, for example, there's a problem with your RAM. What happens? And we have the beeping sound. Matthew, is it true, Matthew? You always have what? That beeping sound. So this morning, I want to discuss on some of these errors in the post. Yeah. In the first one, and if we discuss this one, we're able to discuss this one. Yeah. And we were supposed to start from here on the post error together. Yeah, today we were supposed to start from here. The post what? The post error together. And whenever I talk about a post error message, this is just an error message that is displayed on the monitor during what the post. Now I've said, for example, in case the BIOS together is able to encounter an error, it has to display either an error message or what? Or a beeping sound. For example, and most of the common error messages that is displayed, and if you've ever seen, maybe for example, no bootable device. Have you ever seen that error message? No bootable device. Still, we have the blue screen. These are the most common together. Still, we have the black screen together. Yeah, and now for the error message, it will only be displayed in case a computer has an error together. There is no way a computer can display the error message unless there's a problem. And some of the error messages we can have the no power, we can have no video, and you can have what? No boot, or what we call the no post issues. And this morning I want to start the first one, the no post what issues, whereby we do not have information that is sent to the into the monitor. I want to discuss the no post issues and the no power issues. In case now there's a problem, or in case you realize that the BIOS is not able to send the information, so these are the indications that a post has failed. A power on self-test. Or let me ask you, is there a mechanism, or do we have a way that the computer can boot up in case there's a problem in the post? Can it boot up, Matthew and John? John, can it boot up, John? Can it boot up? There is no way it can do what it can boot up. So these are some of the indications that the post has failed. For example, the first one, if the computer is displaying the Dell logo, not just I've just used an example of a Dell logo. So you can have the Toshiba laptop, or you can have the HP laptop. So in case the computer is displaying that logo and does not move past that point, there's a problem with the post. You just see just the logo on the screen, but it cannot proceed. That is a problem with the post. Still, another reason, if the power indicator lights up, and if you can see it, because you have the power indicator, for example, you have the power indicator when it is on, and you have a power indicator when one is charging. So in case now, if the power indicator lights up and is orange together, or it is amber together, still there's a sign, there's a problem in the with the post. Because what happens for computer, in case it does not have a problem with the post, it has to be color green. Is it true? Is it true, John?
Yes.
Yeah, it has to be what color green. But in case you see an orange color, an amber color, together it's supposed to be what? It's supposed to be a problem. And I believe now your technicians, you have interacted with these computers. Still, in case you see a black screen, not together. In case you see what? A black screen, still there's a problem. Not together with the post. And I believe the most common problem is the blue screen, not even the black screen. Who have ever experienced the black screen? Matthew, have you ever experienced a black screen?
Yes.
And how, in case you experience one, which mechanisms do you put in place to rectify that problem? Which mechanisms do you put in place in case you see a black screen? Or what do you think the cause?
Maybe it wasn't turned off well, the computer.
Yeah, that is according to Matthew. What about John? John, in case you see a black screen or even a blue screen, what is your reaction or what do you think the problem might be? What about Ibrahim? What about Ibrahim?
Display adapter drives have been outdated.
Yeah, speak up, speak up.
The display adapter drives have been outdated.
Yeah, that is okay. And still sometimes, have you ever realized in case you have built the computer, in case you use some updates, you might experience some of these problems. Right together? Yeah, that is okay. Then you can proceed. Still,
What about the connection problems with the screen?
yeah, with the screen, still it can be a problem. Right together? But now what happens, you realize there's another message which has been displayed. Right together? In case there's a problem in the connection with, for example, the display chip, there is no way we could even be seeing this message. Right together? Right together? Yeah, because we can have another message that is caused by the display chip and one is caused by the BIOS, whereby we have the what? We have the port, we have the post. Then still, if the monitor display, if the monitor is not displaying anything at all times, for example, you can have what? It's supposed to be color black, still as a what? I think we have explained that. Still, we can have another problem here. If the computer is beeping, together, or the LEDs are flashing, together, because we said they're supposed to be color green when it is up. But in case now they are flashing and we have color orange, or in case we have the amber color, still is a what? Is a problem. Still, in case you realize that the num lock, the scroll lock, and the caps lock are not powering up, still it can be a what? Can be a problem. So we have I have prepared something here. We have the problem is here, and we have what? The solution. So in case you see a problem, for example, we have the first one here. The computer is either turned off or what? Receive or not receiving any power. Remember, we are addressing these problems here together concerning what the post. So you can have this problem here, the first one. In case the computer is turned off or not receiving any power, what are you supposed to do? I left this one blank, so that I should hear from you. What is the solution? In case the computer is turned off or not receiving any power, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to ensure that there is what? Adequate supply of what? Of power. Still, in case you realize that there's a problem with the connection, maybe from the PSU to the wall unit, or where you have placed your PSU cable, you have to ensure there is what? There is power. Still, we have this one, another problem. A system board failure has occurred. A system board failure has what? Has occurred. For example, we can have a problem with the RAM. We can have a problem with the what? With the display chip. Still, we can have a problem with the CMOS battery. And we say the CMOS is what? The complementary semiconductor together. The CMOS. The complementary metal oxide semiconductor. And we said for this one, is this to do what? To keep what? The BIOS settings, we have what? The data settings. So in case you realize that there's a problem with the system board failure, you're supposed to unplug your computer. You unplug the computer, you allow 1 minute for the power to drain. And what are you supposed to do in order to drain the power? You're supposed to press the power button for 1 minute. Together. Understood? You remove the battery. Still, you remove the external cable that is connected or that is supplying power to the computer. Then you press the power button for 1 minute. That is how you drain all the power in the computer. Because now you have to ensure that you have drained all the power in the CMOS battery. Have you understood that procedure?
Yes.
Yeah, because there's no way you can drain all the power when you have connected the battery. And this is a problem that occurs. Most of the HP laptops have this problem. you realize you have the black screen, or the keyboard is on, but you do not have information on the screen. And most of the times, there's a problem in the with the CMOS battery. And that is the procedure you have to follow. Remove the internal battery, and plug the PSU cable, or the cable that is applying power to the computer, to the laptop. Then you just press the CMOS battery for 1 minute. Yeah. In order you can do what? You can drain all the power. Then still we have this one. A possible system board, PSU, the power supply unit. PSU is what? The power supply unit, or a peripheral failure has occurred. What are you supposed to do? Still, you're supposed to power off the computer, leaving the computer plugged in. You switch off the computer, but still you have to ensure there is power that is being supplied to the computer. Then you press and hold the power button together on the rear of the power supply unit for 1 minute. If now the LED here is what you call, we have that light emitting diode together that is either displaying either orange, amber, or green. In case you realize that that LED that is next to that switch, it is illuminating, there's a problem with the system boot. And remember, you are holding the power button still when you have connected the power cable. But in case now you realize that the LED that is next to the switch does not illuminate, you're supposed to disconnect the internal and external peripherals. Now, which are these internal peripherals? The internal peripherals can have what? You disconnect the cable for the display in the computer. Still, you can disconnect the cables. For example, you can have, you can even disconnect the external devices, the expansion. For example, in case you have added a video card, disconnect it. You can even disconnect even the RAM first. When together you disconnect the RAM, disconnect the display chip cable. Even you can disconnect all the power supply cables, all the power cables. Disconnect what? The data transfer cables. Still, in case we are having an external peripherals, for example, like the USB. In case you're having the USB, still disconnect them. They might cause what? A problem. So in case you realize that you have disconnected all these cables, and now the LED is illuminating, or it is producing the green color, that the problem was with what? With the peripherals. And you have to remove peripheral one by one as you confirm. But still, you may realize you have removed one, and you're having what? The beeping sound. In case now, still, you have removed all the PSU connections, and still the LED is not illuminating, the main problem is what? The system boot, or what you call the motherboard. Yeah, what you call what? The motherboard. Yeah. So, and now the main, in case you realize that the problem was the motherboard, what are you supposed to do? Bernard, in case you realize that the problem was the motherboard, what are you supposed to do?
Change it.
Find a way of accessing it and change it.
Yeah, that is okay. In case you realize that the problem was the motherboard, the PCB, the printed circuit board, you have to ensure you replace all the motherboard. And as you replace the motherboard, you have to ensure the compatibility together with with other devices. Yeah. So that was a problem. In case now that a problem with the PSU. Still, we can have a problem with with the CPU. Still causing a problem with with the post. In case now we don't have the CPU, still we'll have that error message for the for the post. Remember, we are discussing post, the power on self test. Now, no CPU present. What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to reinstall, or you open the casing, you install the CPU, then you restart the computer or the system. In case you realize that you have installed a new CPU and still the same computer is not booting up, maybe there's a problem in the with the connection in the CPU. Remember, we have the socket. We have the socket. Maybe now is using there's what you call the LGA. You cover this one, the LGA socket, the ladder array. You cover this somewhere. Maybe we have the connection with the LGA. For example, you can have what you call the ZIF, the zero insertion force. Together, So you have to check that connection. Maybe now the CPU is not well connected to that what? To that motherboard. So you have to check what? You have to check that. In case you realize still you have reinstalled, there's a problem, what you have to do now, you have to verify that the CPU is working. Altogether, you have to do what? You have to verify that the CPU is working. And how can you verify that it is working? What you can do, you can just remove that CPU and put it in a different computer. If it is working, altogether, if it is working, just take it back the what? To the original computer and put it again. Or still, you can use a software. Altogether, you can do what? You can use a software. Still, another problem is here. Memory modules are detected, but a memory power failure has occurred. Memory modules are detected, but a memory failure power failure has occurred. And this one is very, very common. Even it happens to my computer. For example, in case I've installed 2 RAMs here, I've done what? I've installed 2 RAMs. Maybe one is having 2 GB and one is having a 4 GB. Sometimes my computer, not the desktop one together, sometimes the desktop fails to boot up. The reason for that, one of the memories here is what has failed. Understood? What are you supposed to do? In case you get that error message, or just get a beeping sound, you're supposed to remove the one RAM. Unatoa RAM moja kwanza. Then you switch on your computer using what? That RAM. Still, in case you realize that there is no way you can boot up the computer, just reinstall the second RAM. In case it works, you realize the problem was what? The first RAM. Understood?
Yes.
Yeah, I hope you are here. Some of you might be sleeping. I think you say I'm not able to see you.
We are following.
Yeah, you're following.
Yeah,
You're not
well,
sleeping.
Yeah,
You're
because
together.
because I'm not able to see you, you may take advantage of that because I'm sharing the notes, and some of you might be sleeping. I always ask questions that to ensure you are here. Understood?
yes.
Yeah. What have I said
Yes.
concerning the What have I said concerning the RAM here? I want to hear from you. What have I said concerning the RAM?
When
If you try
the
to boot
Yeah.
and it fails, you first remove the first RAM,
Yeah.
then restart it. If it
Yes.
fails, you try to put back the first
You
RAM that
remove
you
the
had
second
removed.
one.
Proceed. I want to hear.
When it fails to boot
Yeah.
and you have 2 RAMs,
Yes.
you remove one RAM,
Yeah.
then try to boot it again with that RAM that is inside.
Yes.
If it fails, you open it again, remove the second RAM, and then put back the first RAM, and then try to boot it and see if it will start up.
Yeah, that is good. You can see you're present. Yeah. So what happens still? Remember, there's a RAM. We can have a when you're buying a RAM, you have to be very, very careful. You have to check the compatibility with the motherboard. For example, you can have a RAM that is DDR3. DDR3. In the case of DDR3, there is no way you can install in a motherboard that supports what DDR2. Together, it can cause some problems with the motherboard. You have to be very, very careful. You have to check what.
sir,
Yes.
sir, where can you get that information?
Concerning the DDR. Yeah,
On the
concerning
motherboard.
what happens now, there is the once you open the motherboard, kuna hapo nyuma unaweza angalia. Katika unaweza angalia support. It is written in the motherboard. Katika that is written. Karibu kwa RAM. Katika
Okay, I'll check mine after this.
yeah, just check. Still, you can do this. Unaweza fungua the start button. Katika just go to the start button and you type dx katika
DX?
dx. Yeah, dx. Once you type that information, you will get about the information concerning your computer together. Yeah,
It's not coming.
let me just show you. Let me just show you together. Let me just take mine here. Let me just get the screen. Yeah, let me just open mine. Let me share the screen. Let me share my screen. I hope you'll be able to see. Are you able to see my desktop?
Yes.
Can you see what I'm typing? Can you see this here? The yard.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Yes, we're able to see.
just present. You'll get information concerning your computer. Supposed to, let me see. Supposed to display the information. Oh, is here. Right together. So once we have this information now, you can procure a RAM. Right together.
Yes, yes.
What you can do now with this information, once you go to procure the RAM, just inform the person sharing this information together. This is the information concerning your computer. Can you see it? Right together.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, you can
once
see.
you have the knowledge of this information, it will determine whether your laptop is supposed to use what? A DDR3 or a DDR2. Right together.
Where is it?
So I'm saying we have this information. So can you see we have the processor is here? We can have the BIOS, the memory is here. So once he
Yes.
has this information, it will determine akiangalia kwa processor hapa, together angalia your processor, angalia even the BIOS, he will know the best type of RAM to give you together. Because what happening nowadays,
Okay.
there's a new RAM. There's a new RAM which has what we call dedicated graphics. Together, there's a new RAM, which is having what? Dedicated graphics. Together. Like that RAM, it cannot be used in the normal computers. Together, in the whole normal computers. You have to be very, very careful. Still, you can do this. You can check the motherboard. Right together, the motherboard. It is written. Right together, and the RAM is written DDR2 or DDR3. Understood?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that is okay. You can even check on the motherboard.
Yes.
Yeah, that is okay. Then you can proceed. Yeah, that is okay. Then you can have, still, we have this problem. A possible CPU or a system board failure has occurred. I think you have covered that. You have covered that. We have this one. The BIOS may be corrupt or missing. Let me ask you, how do you access the BIOS? How can you access the BIOS? In case I want to access the BIOS settings, what am I supposed to do? I want to hear from you. I want to access the BIOS settings. What am I supposed to do? Which keys can I use? Matthew, in case I want to access the BIOS, what am I supposed to do? How can I access them? Matthew, in case I want to access the BIOS, I can just press F2. What together? For example, in case you're using a HP laptop, you can just press F2 when you are starting the computer together. You press what your F2 together. And still, some computers you have to press the F1, then you follow some procedures. Once you open the BIOS settings, you can view, for example, the boot device options. Together, for example, you want to boot from DVD, you want to boot from what? From a USB. Still, in case you want to boot from a network, they are there. Still, the BIOS, you will see even the BIOS version. Understood? You see what the BIOS version. And still, you will see the BIOS password. And let me advise you, never change the BIOS password. Understood? Never change what? The BIOS password. In case you change the BIOS password and you forget that password, you try to boot that computer, you'll always have a problem. There is no way that computer will boot up. Altogether, that will be the end of that computer. Understood? So what are you supposed to do when you are booting? Don't use what any password. And still you can have the legacy boot, you have the secure what, the secure boot. All this information, you get it at the what? At the F2 of the computer, that what? That functional key. So still, in case you realize that the BIOS has corrupted or is missing, the best thing you can do, we have two options here. You can either download the new version of the BIOS. That is one. You download what? The new version of the BIOS. The second option, it is you reprogram the BIOS chip. You do what? You reprogram the BIOS chip. These are the only two mechanisms that you can use to rectify a problem in the BIOS. The first one, you download the current BIOS version. The second one, you reprogram the BIOS chip. And how do you reprogram the BIOS chip? What happens now? The technician has to open the what? The computer motherboard. He removes the current BIOS chip and he replaces with another one that is programmed. Have you understood that?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that is. And I have said you have to be very, very careful with the what with the BIOS. It can damage your what? Your computer. Still, you can have another problem is here. A possible system boot failure has occurred. And this is just a repetition we had discussed. Together we had discussed that. We have this one. The power connector is not installed properly. What is supposed to do, John? In case now there's a problem with the power connector, which has not been installed properly.
You first of all check and connect it properly.
Yeah, once you connect it properly. For example, maybe the problem can be the internal with the PSU together. Maybe there's a problem in the what with the power supply unit cables together. So we have to check whether they have been connected properly. Still, we have to check whether there is flow of power from the main socket to the what to the PSU. Understood? In case you realize that there is good connection, there is a problem with the what with the motherboard, or there's a problem in the what with the power supply unit. Then we have this one, a possible peripheral card or a system boot failure has occurred. We said, in case you realize that you have installed some peripherals, they can either be internal or external. The best thing you can do, you can remove one by one. I think until by the photo one, you can start by removing, for example, you're having 2 RAMs. Remove the first RAM. You check whether it will work. In case it is working, you put the second RAM. You check whether it was what is working. Still, in case you have installed a video card or a TV card, let me just use a TV card. Maybe you have connected your laptop to the TV together, you have installed a TV card. Just remove that TV card. You check whether it is causing all the problems. Because most of the times, the peripheral devices they cause what the problems. For example, I've seen some of you or some of us when you're starting a laptop or a computer, some of you start when they have inputted the USB devices or the flash memories. Is it true? Is it true?
Yes, some do that.
Yes.
And I hope you have ever realized they cause problems. They cause problems. Ukistart your computer and make a flash memory, the pen drive, or you have connected an external hard disk, sometimes inajaribu kuboot from the external device. Understood? So as you boot up your computer, ensure you have removed all the external peripherals. I think the reason we have discussed a possible system boot failure, whereby you're supposed to remove all the peripheral cards. We have this one, a possible coin cell battery failure has occurred. In case you have this problem, you're supposed to remove the battery. Together, we remove the battery, then we press the power button for 1 minute to drain what? The current charges together. Or still, we input a new battery and we restart with the computer. But before you put a new battery, what you have to do, you have to drain it. Or you remove it, then you put it back. Together. Yeah, it is become a reset. Then you have this one. You have this one. The computer is in a normal on condition. The diagnostic writes are not late after the computer successively boots to the operating system. The computer is working normally, but you realize the diagnostic writes or the LEDs are not red. What you have to do now, and most of the times it happens, you realize that the keyboard is working, you realize that the LED are color green, but still you do not have any display or any information being displayed on the monitor. What you have to do, you have to ensure that the display is connected. You have to check the VGA cable together from the monitor to the motherboard. In case now you realize that the VGA cable has been connected well, that is a problem with the display chip. It has to be changed together. Yeah, you cannot deprogram the display chip. You have to remove it and put what? A new display chip. Understood? Still, in case now a possible processor failure has occurred or the CPU has failed, what you have to do, you have to reset the processor. You have to remove it, then you put it back. And as you remove it, you have to verify it is working. What together, you have to do what? You have to verify it is working. Yeah. I have checked okay. Then still we have this problem. I think this one we discussed this one together. We discussed this one. That is okay. We have discussed. Then we have this one. A possible graphics card failure has occurred. Graphics card. What are you supposed to do in case there's a problem with the graphics card? Okay, but what are you supposed to do in case now there is a problem with the graphics card?
It
Bernard,
seems
what are you
that it was
supposed?
not installed properly.
Yeah, what else? Then what are you supposed to do? Yeah, John, what are you supposed to do in case we realize that the graphics card was not installed properly? What are you supposed to do, John?
You insert a working graphics card. You first remove.
Yes.
You remove the previous card and insert a working graphics card.
And still you have to verify that it's working.
Check the version.
Yes, still that is correct. You have to check the version. In case you use the long version, there is no way it can be working. You can verify it is working. But still, in case you use a long version, there is no way it will work in that computer together. And still you have to check the compatibility. Is it with the motherboard? It can be working on this computer, but it's not working on your computer because of the what? Motherboard compatibility. Still, we have this one. What if now you realize that the floppy drive or the hard drive has failed, Bernard? What would be the problem? Or what is the solution? The hard drive has failed, Bernard. How can we solve that problem, Bernard?
You remove the failed drives.
Yes.
And then you confirm if you have the ones that are working properly, then you install them.
Yeah, that is correct. Still, we have to
update the drivers.
Correct. You have to update the drivers. Still, you have to check where you have to check two cables here. Remember, the hard drive or the optic drive, you have two cables. One is for power and one is for what? For data. Still, you have to do what? Counter check them. That is correct. Still, we have this problem. A possible USB failure has occurred. This one is very, very common. You realize you have inputted a flash memory, but still it cannot be detected. Or still you realize you receive this problem. One of the USB ports has malfunction. What is the solution for that? Where is Matthew? I'll hear that from Matthew. Matthew, what are you supposed to do in case you realize we have that problem? Is Matthew here?
Yes.
Yeah, Matthew, I'm asking in case you realize that there is a possible USB failure. For example, you can have this error message, maybe one of your USB ports has malfunction. What is the solution to that? Because this one is very, very common when you are using the flash memories. How do you solve that?
Yes, you have to check if the flash memory has been corrupted.
Yes, that is one.
And if it does, you must replace it.
Yeah, what if now you realize that it is working well, but still it has not been detected? You have to check the drivers altogether. The drivers also. Then
And how do you locate that driver?
Yeah, let me just show you. Let me just show you. Maybe you can display the procedure on how you check the drivers altogether. You can check the mouse drivers, you can check the processor drivers, the local drivers altogether. Yeah, let me just show you. Yeah, what you have to do, you just go to your PC. Let me show the screen. I hope you're able to see that altogether.
Yes.
Then we have my computer here.
Yes.
Then you go to the system properties altogether. The system properties.
Property.
Then we have the device manager is here. Device manager. Are you able to see that this device is here?
Yes.
For example, let me start for the USB are here. Can you see them? The drivers are working here. All are working. Can you see them?
Yes.
So in case now one is not working, we'll be having a question mark or an icon that is yellow in color. Yellow in color together. It will indicate. For example, in case I click this one, let me just right click. I see the properties of that driver. Can you see it is working properly?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, in case it is not working properly, we'll have the message, the error message is here. Altogether. And what you have to do,
Yes.
you can uninstall it. Like what happens most of the time, for example, you have installed some drivers. Most of you tend to run the drivers pack once more. Is it true? To run drivers pack 10.
Yes.
Run drivers pack, what happens? We can have the correction, especially for the mouse drivers. You realize now your mouse is not working. What you have to do, you have to come to this point and you uninstall the duplicate together. You confirm it here together. You confirm them here.
Yes.
Because you're having to. In case it just is working properly. In case you want to update the driver, you can see when the version is here together. You can see what the version. In case you want to update, just click what? Update. Together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Update.
And
Yes.
that is okay. Everything is here. The display adapters are here. Together, the graphics is the internal graphics. Now the DVDs are here. Yeah, everything is working.
Sir,
Yes.
excuse me, sir. Now to mean that now
Yeah.
it's all about updating the drivers wherever you find that there is a failure in those ports. You just update it. You not bring in a new drivers in to your machine.
Now, no, the best thing you can do, because in case you go to search the driver on the internet, you can have a lot of drivers, but you are not sure the specific one. For example, you can have
Yes.
we can have the drivers from HP, you can have drivers from Toshiba. You are not sure about them.
Yes.
So the best you can do,
Yes.
since it was working initially, just come to this part here. For example, let me just use the processor together.
Yes.
You realize it is having an arrow here. Or an arrow icon. Like click it.
Yes.
Click properties or update what? Driver software.
Yes. Okay.
Because once you bring in a new driver, you might cause a duplicate. Together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understood.
But still, but in case still you're not able to update it from here, because sometimes you try to update it, then you cannot. Together, what you have to do, you have to check the motherboard version together, everything concerning the computer. Together, the model. Once you know the model, just go to, for example, if it is the HP, just go to the HP site, you get the drivers from HP together, even the model is there.
Yes.
Yeah, that is okay.
And for the processors, can you update them online?
Yeah, you can.
The
They are
Intel.
here. Yeah, let me just show you. Processor.